in the right and doing whatever they want to do. All right, but thanks. Shoot.
Were there any like fact checkers for
Oh, clearly not.
Like, was it just like scientific sounding words thrown together and then a plot built around that? Or?
We had Kevin Razor, who's the our fact check guy, our science guy, loosely. What's that?
Science geek.
Science geek, yeah, and a real scientist in his own right. But I mean, some of it was just wrong, right? Like Joe Morton was, they called him Dr. Logic on set because Joe would take the scripts home, and, we'd do the read through, and they're like, "How'd you like it, Joe?" And he'd go, "It's great, thank you." He'd take the script and he'd walk off, and then he'd come back with his he'd sort of, you do the scene, and he goes, "Now it's written like this, and I would say that if it were right." So what I would do, he would go and correct everything because he was a stickler for that sort of thing. So though we had a fact checker, there's a big gray area on what's right and wrong with the whole thing. Somewhere there's a question. Shoot.
You working on anything else right now? Or are you just kind of enjoying the break?
Oh yeah, no, that's kind. You gave me an out, right? Yeah, just enjoying the break. I'm doing 8 episodes of a show called Haven.
Yes.
So I start that on June 10th, and I shoot 4 episodes, then 2 more in August, then 2 more in September. So if you know that show, Audrey, played by Emily Rose, I'm doing a lot of stuff with her. And there's something about a barn. Yeah, you got
it. I noticed that in the show they were gearing you going towards more Lupo.
Yeah.
Were they going to pull you out of the relationship with well, my
no, that was something that Erica and I were playing for a bunch of years. Erica played Lupo. And we were sort of playing, not to sort of set it up, but we were like, well, let's just play it like we're actually really good friends, and maybe there's something, but not. And there seemed to always be a way to do that. I'm also incredibly fond of Erica. Like, she's a sweetie, and I was at her wedding, and, she was, I wasn't there when her kid was born, that would have been weird.
He got the joke.
So it was very easy for me to play like she's dear to me, and that's easy to misconstrue, not misconstrue, but it's easy to read both ways on the script. So they weren't writing it in so much as we were playing it,
What was your favorite episode?
My favorite, I got a bunch. Everything I was in. No, I got my favorite, Up in the Air, which was with the bank. I love that one. I like that one because like you're on a show and you shoot, for like any job, you look for causes to rally behind. And Alexandra, our script supervisor, she was given that episode to direct for getting so many. I know that guy. We were a cable show, right? And so the network, they hire these big network directors to come in and direct the show, and they sort of pay them a lot. And these directors, some of them sort of see it as slumming, right? Because it's not a network show, it's a cable show, so they don't prep properly. So people like Alexandra, who's our script supervisor, ends up getting them out of hot water a lot. And people like myself and Rick, our director of photography, these guys, we sort of get them out of trouble a lot. And as a reward, they gave her an episode of her own to direct, and it was up in the air. So it was incredibly important for us that it go well for her, so that she could use it as a calling card and maybe get her career to go other places. Her other episode that she did was, I don't know. It was really good though. The other episodes I liked, probably from the most recent years, I liked Jack of All Trades, which was the where we all body swapped.
That was a funny episode.
Doing that for a bunch of reasons. Like nothing better than making fun of the people you work with, right? It's my job. Sorry. And then what's another one? Probably Smarter Carter. Because for years they gave me grief about like, your lines are so easy. You just have to go, what? I gotta read this much garbage. I don't even know what it means. So they were always sort of giving me grief about that. So when that one came out, everybody was so happy that I lost Niall to do. Actually, Niall, like Zane, Niall had a hard job, because Niall's job all the time was to do the fake screen stuff. You know, or like, and so when you're doing something like that, there's no marching orders. There's no direction. It's sort of, if the visual effects guys go, yeah, just do a bunch of stuff and we'll fill it in. Okay, so instead he's like, I'm creating an operating system and I'll say that a bunch of the icons are here and I'm pulling them up and spinning them around. So he's creating it all in his head. So most of the time he's off in the corner of the room like a crazy person. And so he had a rough time. And there also the first one I directed, which was Your Face or Mine, which was when Eureka got her face stolen. It's better than it sounds. But that was the first time I got to do it. So, take it away.
During the flashback arc, what was your favorite part of doing that?
Doing the flashback arc, what was my favorite part of doing that?
Yes.
It wouldn't be wearing the wool shirts and pants. That would be on the list of things I did not enjoy about. But holy cow, to be a soldier in like World War II, that stuff sucked. Shirts and pants and like the worst shoes you've ever seen. That's amazing. Like,
that was the worst part.
Wasn't terrible, but that clothing was awful. So that was a bad thing. What I liked the most was probably doing a period piece. You know, getting to be back in the 40s and find places around Vancouver we hadn't shot in, and also seeing all the other characters in 40s garb is really, really fun. So yeah, I mean, it's nice taking people on a trip, and that's sort of what we did with that one.
Did you get to do a lot of like impromptu type stuff, like improv on your?
Make stuff up.
No.
Maybe you make that.
Did you get to make stuff? Did you ad-lib?
Yeah, did I ad-lib? A period of time, I guess season 2 and 3 was the worst. When we just rewrite stuff. Which is not really, writers don't like that. That's not their dream. When they spend like a weekend writing something and you change it because you had a whim. But we would do it, and we loved doing it. And so I think some of the best jokes, or some of the jokes that people repeat today, some of them came from people on the spot. And not necessarily us, though. Like Matt Hastings was our director-producer. Matt's amazing on the floor with new ideas and new jokes that he threw in. One of the favorites that he threw in that I liked was Dave Foley. You guys know Dave Foley? Dave came to do a show with us, and I think his parting line, Matt gave him, which was, I have a girlfriend, and her name is Science. Taken away, and that was one of Matt's ads. We thought that was very funny. So Matt was great at coming up with lines. And as long as we did it scripted, you know, we could do whatever we wanted on take 2, because they had that, you know, if they wanted to use it. Sometimes they wanted a better version of that, but we did it. I'll get you 1 second.
You're an awesome actor.
Thank you.
And I've seen a lot of your work. I just want to tell you, like, you were phenomenal in Eureka. Like, that was some of your best work. And some of the other things people know about, like Classic.
Like Classic, yeah. Quality, integrity, dignity.
Oh, it is Cliff.
What was perhaps the hardest role that you ever played in Eureka doing all this?
Well, the most pronounced juxtaposition of that I probably had was in the body swapping episode, because you get so comfortable in the skin of the character you're playing. You know him inside and out, because he's not that dissimilar from me, you know, most of the time. And then all of a sudden you're with the same crew you're with every week. You're in the same sets you're in every week. You know, with the same equipment. It's so familiar, and yet you're playing a completely different character and really unsure if it's working. You know, the Final Cut worked that you guys saw. Well, Mark, take 1 and 2 on some of that stuff. That wasn't very successful. You know, you do the first take and you sort of turn. Not often. Jamie, our executive producer, was director, so on that episode, so he told us it would work a lot of times. But you turn to the crew, because they're the guys who are around you 16 hours a day, and they know you backwards and forwards, and you can sort of go, how was that? And you get the guy coming from behind the camera and you go, that wasn't very good. you're you're gonna want another one. And they were such good guys, you know, that you live with the crew. So I think a lot of times they set the tone for us more than anything else. But that was probably the hardest thing we did. And of those, it was probably Sally. When I impersonate Sally, because I couldn't do it standing. They put me in a bed, and so you lose your body to sort of position yourself, like Sally, like a woman, you know. So I'm in bed, so I just had my face to work with, which was I don't know. It worked out okay. I like that scene actually. I think it was good, but that was probably the toughest one.
Along that line, how hard was it to switch? And there's one show, maybe even that one, that you really switched characters an awful lot between you, part of the body swapping, and then like you played 3 of the other ones. How hard was it to go from one to the other?
It was difficult to swap. Also because I think in that episode sometimes we got behind in schedule, and what happened was we would change episodes at noon. So like one director shoots out their episode, and you're in the same set. And they go, right, we're shooting another story. In this story, and you know, and you're shooting the brand new episode that you just read, so your brain goes through this process of sort of, you know, you have to sort of jettison the information from the last episode at the same time downloading the new stuff, and that's really hard. And then you're not even getting to act like yourself, you're acting like someone else. So, and acting like Fargo, I mean, you're basically acting like a muppet. You do it, and you're like, is Neely going to be mad when he sees this? You know, and people say, well, it's funny, you should keep doing it. So we did it. But yeah, it was difficult to switch.
Okay, in scenes where you had to fight yourself,
Yes.
How weird was it when you had to like throw punches at? And has anybody ever gotten injured while doing any of those scenes?
You're looking at it. 90% of the time. Yeah, it was very difficult to fight against myself. My shoulder was dislocated at the time.
Oh my God.
Which goes into your other question. So there's no way to fake it. You know, when you're blocking a punch this way and your shoulder's dislocated, it just hurts a lot. If you're wondering, take 3 hurts more. Little things you learn along the way. But as things that happened, what happened? I guess I fractured that elbow. For the first season, that foot was broken, my right one. So that hurt. Because it doesn't heal unless you rest it. It's like a medical show all of a sudden. So that was hard. That was rough. That got dislocated. What else happened? They burnt me. One of the burns, the worst burn, was here. And if you look, I forget what it is. I think it's the last episode on season 1. I'm lying in bed at the end of the episode, and I made a point of lying like this so that the burn would be on record.
Now we're gonna have to look at that.
What I was doing is I was beating the nuclear reactor with a bat, and the squibs, the things that they set up to explode and fly, were set up in the correct direction until you beat it with a bat. At that point, they tend to fall, and so they fell right at me and shot at me and landed here. And in that take, you know, I'm acting, but I'm on fire at the time. The sort of landed right there, which made for sort of, you know, weird actions. And then this other one, I was beating, I was beating things up with rocks and bats. So I'm in the Neanderthal, really. I'm beating this thing with a rock, and it's right next to, that's where it was. The fake cliff that goes away and there's a building next to it.
Yes.
Yeah, you know that one? Do you know what episode that was in?
I don't remember what episode, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, all right. So that one, said, hey, can we use a bigger explosion next to your face?
No.
And I said, well, that actually makes me uncomfortable. If we could not use an explosion next to my face. He said, oh, okay. And then he went away and said, use a bigger explosion. So I wasn't expecting it. And this thing comes, and I just got my eyes closed in time. So the burns were on my eyelids.
Oh my God.
Oh.
And yeah, right? That's what I did. I was angry. So I turn around, and first he goes, sorry. So, luckily I didn't lose my sight on that one. But there was another one when the worst one was Pretty close. It was there was this. I think they call it a shower explosion, which is like it just sort of shoots stuff like this. And Ronnie, we weren't hurt, but he got in a lot of trouble for this because he said it'll look really cool if you guys just turn away and we'll just explode on the backside of your head. And Eric was like, all right, let's do that. So we did that, and then he got in a lot of trouble that day because it was apparently a really big explosion. We couldn't see it because we were looking the other way. But yeah, things happened all the time. I mean, mostly to me.
But things always seem to happen to you.
It's totally part of it. I didn't even need this. I don't even know why I'm sitting with this. Here, hold on. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So there's another one. We're shooting this one thing, and it's a ladder, and it's probably it's higher than that, so higher than that roof, about there. Okay, yeah, about there. And to make the ladder look really sci-fi, they made the rungs really big, right? The human hand doesn't appreciate that. Rungs are made a certain size so that you can grip them. So I'm climbing this thing, and I'm like, this doesn't feel safe at all. Climbing this thing, and I get to the top, and I latch myself in, and David J. Cox, the stunt coordinator, he pulls this mat over that's 4 feet by 6 feet, and he's like, sets it up, and he goes, if you fall, hit that. It's his big advice to me. Anywhere around the mat is concrete. And then of course the harness that I'm in, they're like, oh, that's in the shop, dude. Can you take that off? So you have to do without the harness at the end of the day. You want another story like that?
Yes.
We're doing this thing, and I'm directing it, so this was my fault. There was supposed to be a fake door here. Oh, do you remember the plinths where I had to jump from plinth to plinth? And then that was supposed to be on the ground, and there was a fake door, so you could shoot it like this, so I could be like, oh no, They forgot to build the door on the floor. So all we had were the 16-foot plinths that were like a foot by a foot. And the reason why they wrote that the character doesn't like heights is because I don't like heights. So we're doing this thing, and they're like, well, we could use 3 guys to lean against them, and they're probably not going to fall. And then we do have these 2 mats. So I was like, well, all right, let's do that. So I was actually up 16 feet, and there were 4 plinths. And I'd start on one, right, and I have to jump to the other one. And then Jay Cox said, okay, when you get to the second one, wait. So I get the second one, wait, and then I hear it. I had to hold the mat along with me, so that if I fell, I could hit something. Yeah. So at a certain point during that day, he went up to me and he said, are you almost done? I was like, mentally, yeah. Really close to the wall. So yeah, bad things happen to good people.